Hello there guys. Now in this video we're going to get started with LiveWire 3 which was introduced some times back. Now we are going to start by installing Laravel 10, and for you to install Laravel 10 you need to have PHP 8.1 or later, and of course to use even LiveWire 3 you also need to have these two. These are the prerequisites for you to use the LiveWire 3 and as well as the LiveWire 10. You need to have the PHP 8 with you. Now we're going to get started with LiveWire 3, and we're going to start by installing the Laravel project. You can also head over to the documentation for Laravel here, and it also gives you the way to get started by installing the given framework here. So you can just come here and check this command here, and then you can just copy this and then begin to install. So here, if I come here, actually here, so I'm on my XAMPP htdocs. Of course your project should always be on htdocs. You can see when I come to my softwares and then I come to my XAMPP here, then you need to have all your projects should always be on your htdocs. Now in this case I'm also using XAMPP, which is the local server that you can install. It's for free. So I'm using servers, which is XAMPP. Of course the software is XAMPP, and I'm using VS Code for my work environment. So you need to have those installed if you don't have. However, if you have another text editor, for example, another text editor such as VS Code, you can also use that one as well. Now here I'll just need to change this to something like LiveWire 3. Can I have LiveWire 3 blog, because I have another one. Let's change this to crash course like this. So LiveWire 3 crash course and so forth. Now you can install it by this way, so you can just install it through this method. However, there is also another method you can also use, but this one will require you to have the global require Laravel installer, whereby you install this given package, and then once you have this package installed you can just run Laravel new and then of course the project name. So instead of using the composer, that is if you don't have composer, you can just go for this one here, and then of course once you are done you can cd in and then run the PHP artisan serve. So those are one of the ways to install a Laravel within your text editor. So let's have this one installed. All right, now this Laravel 10 has been installed, and what we can do is that we can, of course, we can cd in into the given application. So this is cd in into LiveWire 3. I think this is how it was, crash course, like that. Now we are in that one, and then here I can just run code and then the project will now open. Now this is what we have, and I can open my terminal by hitting the Control Shift and then the tilde sign on your keyboard, and then here I'm going to use the git bash here to run the commands here. So I'll just go for git bash here, and then I'll just take this one out. Now that is what we have here. Now in this quick start video, what I'm going to do here is we'll be covering the installation of LiveWire, and then we'll create a basic component within LiveWire 3, and then we'll continue from there. So when we head over to the documentation, you can see to install LiveWire, it's simple. You just need to run this command here, and as I said from my introduction slides, LiveWire lives within Laravel, so you get to install LiveWire within the Laravel framework here. So when I hit this one here, I can now begin to install the latest LiveWire through this command. Now we have our LiveWire installed, which is 3.0, and so that is done. So here you're just going to create a basic component. So let me just hit clear there. And for us to do that, you can see within our documentation here, we can just get started by just creating this basic component here. So I just copy that one and then I click enter here. So what will happen is that LiveWire will create two given files. So the first one will be the counterblade.php. And when I come here on my resources within the views, here I can find a directory livewire, and inside it has the counter blade.php. This one is the one that is responsible for, of course, rendering the output once you have done all your logic within the app. And then within the app, we go to livewire, and then the counter.php is the class itself that gets created. So two files get created, and so this is the counter.php class, and then of course the blade itself. That's how livewire works. Now there is some changes. In livewire 2 we used to have app http, and then of course livewire, and then the counter. But now this time it has now been taken out from the http. We just have the livewire. This is the namespace. We just go from livewire app and then livewire, and then of course the class itself. So you need to take note of that difference. Now we can come to our counter blade here, and what I want us to do here is just to create, of course, a basic component, of course a basic application. So here I'm going to have h1, and then within this h1 here I'm going to pass this variable like this, which is just count. Then we close this one like this, and then here I'll have a button. So the button is going to be button wire, click that, and then this is going to be equal to increment, because this is just a counter app. So we're going to have increment, and then we close this. I'm going to do the same thing for decrement, because we want to decrement or increment a given number. So here I'm going to have decrement like that, and then here of course we change the sign to the negative sign. So what is happening here, we are just creating a simple component application whereby we have the count is a variable. So what we're going to do is, when we go to the class here, we can do something like this. So for example, here I can just come here and define a property, and then the property is count, and then I give it a value of 1. So basically what we mean here is this property, which has the value of 1, is going to be passed within this particular blade here. So the 1 is going to be passed here, so that when I hit plus sign is going to be incremented or decremented based on, of course, if you decrement the given number. So here I'm going to have a public function like this, and then here this is increment like that, and then here basically what we have is let's just keep space here. Okay, so here we have, so here I'm going to use this keyword, and then I'm going to call the count, which of course is the property, and then that's all we have there. I'm going to copy this again and paste this one here, and then here we're going to have decrement like this, and then here I'll change the signs to that. Now as you can see, that's all we have for this application. It's very simple, because what we do here is we just want to ensure that that we are just creating the two functions, so that once the public property here is, because you have defined it here, we can increment or decrement the given number based on whatever the user is going to click. So if the user clicks increment, what will happen is that it will pass the value of 1, and then this function will be called, and then the increment will happen. Just the same case with the decrement. Now once we do that, we need one more thing to do. Now as you can see with the livewire 3, there is something that was introduced here. Where is it? So we can register the route for the component here in our application, whereby we don't now need to, of course, to give, so the route can be given just uniquely here in our component. So so this is what I mean. So what we can do here is that, for example, I can copy this one here, and then come to my web.php, So within my web.php here, I can just come and call the counter. Remember, our blade file is counter.blade. So counter, and then here I can import this class like this, which is this one here. So the class becomes imported, and then you can just come and check. So it is imported from where it is, and this is where the class is. This one here. That's the namespace. So that tells you that that is what we have. Now, the other introduction with Livewire 3 is the creation of the template layout. So the template layout here is that before you can visit the counter in your browser, you need to have a template layout created for you. This template layout, what it does is that it can inject JavaScript or CSS provided by Livewire without you having to, of course, to come and write at Livewire scripts at Livewire styles, because that's what we used to have in Livewire too. So what you need to do here, because when you come here and I Control P and I try to look for an app blade, you can see it is not there. So if it is not there, that tells you that you need to create one, and you just need to copy that command and then hit enter. So what it will do to create the app.blade, which is this one, which is within the components, then the layouts, and then here it comes with this slot. This slot, what it will do, it will render all your components within your application, each component by each component. So that's what I mean there. And that's all about this. So when I come here and I hit PHP artisan serve this, and then I can come to here, and of course we can check our Livewire Laravel, of course, application, which is already installed. Then here I can go to this endpoint for the counter, and of course this is what will be presented. So here I can increment this like this, of course, and then I can as well as decrement this given. So we can just have something like that. So what you need to note is that now with Livewire 3 we can actually call the component itself within the web route by just, of course, doing something like this. And as well, you need to have the template layout installed, so that this template layout, what it will do, it will inject JavaScript and Livewire styles based on the need, instead of you having to come and manually place them here. Another thing you can do is that on the app blade here, you can as well come and even change this title. So you can change this to Livewire 3 crash course, like that. And what will happen, it will change on all the components that you have within your application. In this case, we only have one so far, but once you get to create others, you're still going to have the same title. Right, so let me meet you in the next video.